Okay, let's dive in. Imagine this. A place, um, a whole group of ancient temples that just vanishes, gone, for most of the year.
Right. Submerged underwater.
Exactly. And then, like clockwork, as the seasons shift, they reappear, like some forgotten secret the water decides to share.
It sounds almost mythical, doesn't it?
Yeah,
But it's very real. A pretty incredible site in Himachal Pradesh, India.
it is. Today we're doing a deep dive into the Bathu temples. Locally, they call them Bathu Ladi.
And we've got some fascinating sources here covering, the history, how they've survived so long, this unique timing of when you can actually see them.
And what it's actually like to be there. During that short window, they're visible.
Yeah, so our mission really is to pull out the most compelling bits, help you understand the history, the resilience, the sheer drama of this place.
And just looking at the photos from the sources, my first thought was just, wow, seeing those ancient stone towers, the spires just emerging from the lake water.
With the Himalayas way off in the distance.
Yeah, it's a powerful image. Really pulls you in immediately.
And what's interesting straight away from the sources is that there isn't just one story about how they got there. There are conflicting accounts.
Right, two very different takes. One is pure local folklore, connects them right back to the Mahabharata epic.
That's the one. Claims the Pandava brothers built them during their exile. And the sources add this amazing detail. The legend says they were trying to build a staircase to heaven.
A staircase to heaven, seriously?
Yeah, aiming towards the Masrur rock temples nearby. You can actually see those from the area. And apparently you can still see like remnants of this attempt.
No way.
Yes, the sources mentioned about 40 steps are still visible, leading down towards the water today.
Wow. Okay, a celestial staircase attempt. That definitely captures the imagination. But then there's the historical research.
Exactly, and that paints a totally different picture based on things like architectural style.
So what does the research suggest?
It points much later, probably around the 8th century AD,
Hmm?
and attributes them to the Hindu Shahi dynasty.
Ah, okay. Known for temple building in that North Indian style.
Precisely.
Mm.
So you have this contrast, right? Mythical heroes building a stairway to heaven versus a historical dynasty building temples centuries later. It makes you think about how stories shape our view of these enduring places.
It really does add layers. Let's talk about that endurance, though, because the architecture itself is crucial to their survival.
It absolutely is. They're built in the Nagara style that's typical North Indian temple architecture, as those tall, curved spires. But the real key, the sources emphasize, is the stone they used. A very strong local stone they call Bathu stone.
Bathu stone. Okay, and that's why they can withstand, well, being underwater for 8 months every year.
That's the astonishing part. The sources call it almost a miracle. They are completely submerged for the majority of the year.
It's incredible.
And yet the main shrine dedicated to Lord Shiva, sometimes mentioned with Parvati, it's still standing. And it's surrounded by over a dozen smaller shrines.
And the details survive, too. The carvings.
Amazingly, yes. Sources specifically mention sculptures of Kali, Ganesha, even Vishnu sleeping on the serpent Sheshnag. You can still make them out.
Wow.
The fact that these details haven't just eroded away after centuries of soaking is a real testament to that Bathu stone and, well, the skill of the builders.
Seeing that kind of detail survive is just mind-boggling. So, right, how did they end up underwater? That wasn't the original plan, obviously.
No, definitely not. This is where modern history crashes into the ancient story. They were submerged when the Maharana Pratap Sagar Reservoir was created.
Ah, the reservoir.
Yes, it was formed by building the Pong Dam on the Bees River. That happened back in the 1970s.
The dam is the reason for this whole cycle of disappearing and reappearing. What does that mean for visiting? When can you actually, see them?
It completely dictates the timing. They're underwater, totally inaccessible, roughly July through February.
Okay, most of the year.
Right. Then, as the water level drops in the hotter months, usually starting March or April, lasting through June, they start to emerge from the water.
And that's when you need a boat, I assume.
That's right. Access is by boat then. And the sources describe the visual, these ancient temples rising out of the lake. It's supposed to be majestic.
I can only imagine. So what do the sources say about actually getting there? The practicalities?
Well, during that dry, accessible period, you mainly get there by boat from villages on the shore, like Dameta or Nagrota Surian.
Okay.
You can reach the general area by road, too, through places like Jawali. If you're flying, the nearest airport is Gagal, near Dharamshala, and the main train station nearby is Pathankot.
So it takes a bit of planning and timing, is there anything else nearby worth knowing about?
Yes, definitely. The reservoir itself, Maharana Pratap Sagar, is actually part of the Pong Dam Wetland Sanctuary.
Oh, interesting.
And the sources really highlight this as a huge spot for migratory birds. They mention over 200 species. So it's a bird watcher's paradise.
Especially when the temples are underwater, I guess.
Exactly. During the winter months. So the site has these two distinct personalities, you could say. Temples in the summer, birds in the winter.
That's fascinating. What's the vibe like when you visit the temples themselves, according to the sources?
The main things that come across are peace and real seclusion. It's not swarming with tourists.
Right.
Which gives it a very serene, almost contemplative feel when you're able to visit.
Good to know. Any, practical tips? Fees, facilities?
Just a couple small things. One source noted that from April 2025, they started charging a small entry fee. The Forest Department, I think.
Okay.
And also expect minimal facilities right at the temple site itself. So, plan accordingly.
Right. So putting it all together, the Bathu temples are this incredible mix. You've got ancient myths versus historical facts, architecture built for land, now dealing with, massive amounts of water seasonally, thanks to modern engineering.
And they only reveal themselves for this short window each year.
It's such a unique combination.
It really is. It makes you think, doesn't it? About structures built centuries ago, maybe for gods, maybe by kings surviving not just time, but this dramatic cycle imposed by modern life and nature. Hidden, then revealed, year after year. What does that say about history, about art? That it can be submerged, invisible.